Good morning, YouTube. I am Bearded Ink, and today we have a new tutorial for you. Not so much a tutorial, but more of an informational guide on the new StreamerBot updates. Yes, plural. There have been two new updates to StreamerBot in the last couple of days. The first one, obviously, the 3-month-long wait for version 2.5. And then a day later, we had quick release of version 2.6, which is now the latest stable release. So why two updates so fast? Well, we took a long time beta testing 2.5. There was a lot of features that were added. And 2.5 originally started as a quick hot fix to 2.4 to fix a couple of typos and some functionality bug fixes. But as Nate is tend to do, there were a lot of new features coming out from various other integrations and sources that he wanted to add. So we just kept adding to it until finally everything was tested and stable. But then after 2.5 went stable, and a lot more people were testing it, there were a couple of very, very small potential bugs that were found and identified, and one extra feature from Twitch's API that kind of slipped through right as 2.5 was going stable release that Nate wanted to go ahead and add. So he added that to the 2.6 and then pushed that out. So what we're going to cover in this guide here is we're going to talk about what was changed, where to find the changes, how they affect you, what you need to do, as well as how you can update, whether you should update. Yes, update. And then, of course, we're going to cover all of the changes, that at least the ones that matter, right? But this could be kind of long because the changes are quite intense. So we're going to go ahead and get into it. We're going to show you quickly how to upgrade your StreamerBot version. So here we are. When you first open StreamerBot now, if you are on version 0.2.4, excuse me, if you're on 2.4 or older, you will most likely get a little pop-up that says there is an update available. If you do not have that, you can look right up here in the corner and you will see that it will tell you that there is an update available and then the latest stable release, which is currently 2.6. So if you don't get the pop-up, which 99% of you will, or if you click on cancel for some accidental reason, what we're going to do is we're going to come up here to the three line or the hamburger menu, and then we're just going to click on check for updates, and then you will get the little update box. So all you have to do when you have this is it'll tell you what your current version is, that there is an update available, and then what the latest version that you will be updating to. So we're going to click on download. It'll take a couple of seconds to download, and then the download button will change to install. And we click on this, it will make a backup, it will do the installation, and then it will restart StreamerBot for you. And this will take a couple of seconds. And then once you're in, you now are on the stable newest release. And as you can see up in the top, it doesn't tell you that there is an update available. That goes away. So there are two things with version 2.5, 2.6 that you need to be aware of, especially if you are one of the many that went from 2.4 to 2.5. Now, if you haven't updated at all yet and you're still on 2.4, you directly upload or update to 2.6. You don't really need to worry about both of these steps, but I highly recommend that you go through them anyway. So the first one is to go through and check all of your integrations and logins to make sure that your accounts are completely and fully logged in. So how do we do that? First, we're going to go up here to your integrations tab. Now, I have mine pared down. As you can see here, I only have like 4 or 5 things on here. But if you right click on the lower tabs, you will see these are all of the integrations that are in StreamerBot. So if you use StreamLabs or Dono Drive, Pulsate, Hyperate, Tippy, TreatStream, Lumia, any of these here that you use, you will need to sign into. So for example, here is my Stream Elements tab. I'm using that. So I am logged in. Just make sure that you are logged in and that it does say disconnect. If it, for whatever reason, says connect, then it is not logged in. And what I recommend that you do is you click log out, and then we're going to click on forget. This is going to reset all the API because there have been a few authorization changes, especially for those of you that are using StreamLabs website or the StreamLabs desktop instead of OBS. You will definitely want to do this for those. Once you've clicked on forget, you're just going to click on login again. It will bring up one of the authorization pages that looks something similar to this. You just click on authorize. It'll tell you that it is logged in, and you can close that tab. And then we will be back in here and it will say disconnect. Okay, so you want to make sure that you do that for all of your tabs. So whatever you're logged into, there's a StreamerBot website. This one is very important. It will also show you any remote instances that you're connected to. SpeakerBot as well, Pally, all of them, right? So make sure that they just say disconnect, which means they are connected. So here, the Twitch integrated throwing system, you know, it is retrying. I have it closed, which is why it's retrying, but it does set to connect. And then also, after you've done your integrations, go ahead and click up on the top, click on your platforms. And here is where you're going to have your Twitch, YouTube, and Trovo accounts. And you want to do the same thing. So on the Twitch channel, or sorry, the Twitch panel, you want to go over here to the account settings, and you're going to click on login for your broadcaster account, login for your bot account. Now, if they are logged in and you see the names, you want to make sure that right here, the chat client, pub sub client, and the event sub are all connected. They will say disconnect and be clickable. And then the event sub for your bot account, make sure that that one also is completely logged in. For YouTube, it is the same thing. YouTube tab, go to settings. I'm sorry, go to account. And then here, these input boxes, they are read only. So make sure that your name is in them and that it says disconnect. So if it does not, or if it says, you know, you need to sign in with Google, make sure that you do that. Do not rely on the connection part here. Okay, and let me tell you why. For example, this will tell me that the YouTube bot and broadcaster accounts are logged in. If I had a green dot on Twitch, this means that one of the connections at least is connected, and this will turn green. So if we go back to my Twitch, and I'll show you, here we have the chat client, the pub sub, and the event sub. If one of these is connected and the other two are disconnected, it will still show the green dot down here. So this is just a quick view to let you know, like, okay, I don't have this OBS open. I don't have my Twitch integrated throwing system open. I'm not connected. This is my YouTube bot, which is why Twitch is not there. So don't rely on this specifically. This is just kind of like a quick overview to let you know, yep, your shit's connected. You want to manually go in through all of your integrations and your platform settings and make sure that on the accounts tab that everything is connected. This will also include your WebSockets or your OBS connection. So we're going to go to the Stream Apps tab, and then you're going to come in here, and this should be your OBS, and make sure that it says connected here. If it doesn't, you can right click and choose to manually connect there. Okay. But make sure that it is connected all the way through, and then you will be good to go. Now, the second big change here is the way that the Twitch, and this is only for Twitch right now, the send to message, reply to message, and send announcement to channel are handled. Previously, there was a drop down in the top right hand corner of the send message sub action, which would let you select whether you wanted to send it from your broadcaster account or the bot account, if there was one. Now, for those of you that upgraded to 2.5 and then to 2.6, this was handled a little bit differently. There was a small error in what was supposed to be done, because the way that this is handled has all changed. Okay, now instead of having a drop down, it defaults to, when you select the sub action, to come from your bot account. And if there is no bot account, or the bot account is disconnected, it will fall back to sending the message from your broadcaster account. And this was the feature that Nate really wanted kind of from the beginning, and it has been implemented now. So anybody on 2.4 or older that is sending messages to your Twitch channel, right? You have some that you want to use, like your subscriber emotes or whatever, so they come from your broadcaster name. And then any other, like, replies to chat commands or things like that, or to your timed actions, may come from your bot account. What was supposed to happen when we upgraded to 2.5 was the new system, and I'm going to show that to you here in a second, but the new system was supposed to take whatever you had manually set. So if you had it set to your broadcaster account, or if you had it set to your bot account, and keep those intact and adjust accordingly. But it did not happen. What ended up happening was it defaulted every send message to come from your bot account to fall back to the broadcaster account. 2.6 corrected that fix. So if you're going from 2.4 to 2.6, you can probably skip this major hassle of a step, but I highly recommend that you double check anyway. So what we're talking about here is anything that has a sub action where it sends a message or an announcement or reply to a message as a sub action from your bot account. So for example, I have this one here where it will send a message to YouTube. Now, what we're talking about here is on Twitch. So we're going to go to Twitch, we're going to go to chat, and we're going to see here reply message, send announcement, or send message. So when we make a new one of these, there used to be a drop down up here where you could select which account it came from. But now, as you can see, it'll say at the bottom, send using bot account or fall back to the broadcaster. If you uncheck send from using bot account, you'll see they both go. And this will make sure that the message that is created here will come from your broadcaster account. Now, if you have these manually set before, like I said, that should have left it unchecked if you had it selected to come from your broadcaster. But 2.5 didn't do that. Instead, it checked both of these boxes. So any message that you have created in any of your actions that you want to come from your broadcaster account, you're going to have to go through manually and uncheck this box right here. Okay. Oops, this box right here. Okay. If you want it to come from your bot account, you check here. And then we want to have it fall back to the broadcaster account. This way the message does get sent. So if something happens to your bot account, for example, it gets disconnected, or you accidentally delete it, or the login credentials or something changed, and you haven't reconnected it through the bot. If you don't have the fallback one, this message just won't get sent. This sub action will not exist, right? In the action. So it'll get either skipped over, or it could potentially break the sub action train and the rest of the action will not trigger. So make sure you go through each and every single one of your commands and your actions for anything that has a Twitch send to message, reply to message, or send announcement to channel, and that you have the correct settings here. It's a pain in the butt. I know it was kind of a mistake and it happened. But if you've been with us since before 2.0, we've already gone through this once before when the changes were made to have the bot account set as default. So now we're doing it again. It doesn't really take that long. Grin and bear it, get it done. And then from here on out, you shouldn't have to worry about it ever again. Fingers crossed. Okay. So now what are we going to do? We're going to talk about everything that is changed or updated or fixed in the new versions. Now, as again, 2.6 is the stable version. It is the latest version. It is the one you should be on. And yes, you should upgrade. There have been a lot of changes. There are a lot of changes from other integrations that will break if you do not have this update. So for those of you using StreamLabs, for example, for those of you that stream on Twitch, and for those of you that stream on YouTube, which should probably encompass about 98% of you out there, do the update. Okay. Now,
Once you've done the update and you're on 2.6 and you've gone through your connections and you've made sure everything is connected again properly and everything is talking to StreamerBot, you're on the StreamerBot website and all of that, and you've gone through and you've changed your send messages to channel to do your broadcaster and or bot account, you're pretty much done, right? There isn't a whole lot of things that you have to do, but we are going to talk about some of the new things. So the first thing is we're going to have you read the changelog. Okay. So the changelog itself is very long. It is very important though. And it is also inclusive. So as you can see here, we have all of the green plus sign symbols. This is all new features that were added. Okay, and I'm just going to kind of scroll through them here. These are all brand new features. Now, this is a new application, new events, new commands, new C# handling, all of that stuff. Things that were existing in 2.4 or older versions that have updates are the blue little edit icons here. And as you can see, there is quite a bit of them as well. And then we fixed some typos, we fixed potential crashes, we fixed a lot of different little things that go on with the UI and things like that. But there are a lot of fixes in this event as well. But I highly recommend, and I'm going to link to both changelogs 2.5 and to the 2.6, which is much shorter. As you can see, it is just a quick fix. I'm going to link to both of these in the description below, so make sure you check them out. I don't normally recommend that everybody go through and read a changelog, especially for things like OBS or other softwares like that. But with this version, there have been so many changes. I'm not going to be able to cover every single little thing, and some things I may skip over may be important to you. But this changelog is done very, very well. Not only does it explore the new features, the updates, and the fixes, but it'll also, on the right-hand side here, will cover everything that is new in detail. So you can go through, for example, if you are a YouTube streamer, you can click on the YouTube heading and it will scroll down and tell you everything that's changed for YouTube. Likewise, for Twitch. If you are a C# coder in StreamerBot, you can go and see all of the new methods that have been added. So make sure you spend some time and go through and just at least read over it once to see anything that I may have missed here that is important to you. Okay. So I will leave, again, those links in the description so that you can check those out. So let's go and talk about what is new that may be important to you. First are the new integrations. There are some new integrations that are pretty exciting. So the first one is called Mtion. It's Mtion, Mtion. It is a 3D Clubhouse style streaming software. It is found on Steam, and it is got some very basic integrations in StreamerBot, but now we can, of course, connect with two new sub actions. So for Mtion, they have two sub actions. So you're going to find these by right clicking in your sub actions. We're going to go to integrations and then Mtion right here. And as you can see, you can get an active Clubhouse and you can send a trigger. Okay. I'm not going to cover actually all the integrations and stuff. I'm just going to tell you what's changed as far as the StreamerBot side is concerned. We will be doing more in-depth comparisons and tutorials on these specific platforms later on that you can look forward to. But one of the biggest changes in integrations is for the use of Meld Studio. Meld Studio is a new OBS alternative. It is still very much in the experimental beta, getting things situated kind of stage. It is stable. There are people that are using it, but it has now been fully integrated into StreamerBot, excuse me. And this will come under platforms. No, it won't. Where will it go? This will come under the Meld Studio will come under Stream Apps. So just where you go to connect your OBS, you will do the exact same thing with Meld Studio here.
And Meld Studio comes with 10 new sub actions that integrate Meld Studio, much like the integrations with OBS, where you can check when it has started streaming, stop streaming, things like that. Again, everything in the changelog that is there, all 10 of them, but there are 10. So you can pretty much use every functionality that is currently available in Meld as a trigger or an alert or a sub action in StreamerBot. And also, one of the new things is that there is a new C# methods for Meld Studio that you can use in StreamerBot that they have connection fallbacks and all of that already included. So that's very good for you C# coders out there in StreamerBot, especially if you're using Meld Studio. Those are available for you as well, and they are covered in detail in the changelog, of course. Another big integration change comes in the form of the StreamerBot Chat. Now, the chat has gone through a lot of changes over the last couple of months on its own, and Whipsticks.go is the one that is responsible for those changes. But one of the things that we can do now in here is we have some very basic type of WebSocket connection that allows you to use WebSockets to pull in the chat. So basically, what that means is, for those of you using OBS with the WebSockets connection, OBS to StreamerBot, you can now make this a dockable chat inside OBS. So it doesn't have to be freeform or standalone. You can actually pull it in using the custom docks in the WebSocket stuff into your OBS, which is very, very cool for those of you that use this, especially for you multi-streamers that are streaming to multiple outlets and have the integrated chat here. You can now dock this in OBS, good to go as it is. Now, warning for those of you that do this, if you do dock using the WebSockets connections, and all of those details are on the StreamerBot website on how to do that if you don't know. The WebSocket connected version of chat has quite a few more limitations than the standalone chat like you see here does. So basically, you're going to have to do little workarounds, making direct links, direct actions for that version of the chat for them to work. So like your little quick actions and things that come up when you have those, if you're on the WebSockets version, they will still work, but you will have to make sure that you have dedicated actions set up for them specifically. Okay. But other than that, the dockable chat works really well if you do have the WebSockets connection style. If you don't have the WebSocket style and you're just using it freeform like we are here, sorry, I'm still zoomed in. If you're using it freeform like we are here, there's not a whole lot with this version, a StreamerBot that has changed that you need to be aware about, other than what has already been changed along the way that has been pushed out through even 2.4. And let's get rid of this. All right. Another big thing for those of you using Elgato, I know there's a lot of you out there, especially using the Elgato WaveLink in particular. There was some issues in the previous versions. I think they started in like version 2.2, maybe a little bit sooner, where sometimes some of you were having issues with the way the StreamerBot was connecting and using the call handling features of the WaveLink. Nate has finally identified all of those, potentially all of those issues, and has fixed them. So now you have the full integration for the callback handling, or the call handling, with the Elgato WaveLink. So if you had previous problems with that, upgrading to the 2.6 should fix all of those. And of course, if they don't, please report them so we can figure it out. All right. Lab features. Okay. Now, for those of you that don't know, lab features is a thing. It is a tab here under settings. There is a lab settings. This is where Nate will put new features that he wants to test. They may or may not make it into a final release, like where it's, but basically think of labs as like a sandbox or a virtual machine for StreamerBot. This is where we can test new features and make sure that everything's working. before it becomes its own function, like a tab or whatever in StreamerBot. So this one is a pending action queue, is what's currently added now, and you have to enable it. It is not enabled by default. And if you do enable it, you will need to restart StreamerBot. So what does this do? Basically, what this does is it takes your queues, and if you pause a queue or you have a blocking queue that fills up, right? And one example I can give you that most of you may recognize is Pirate Software uses a TTS queue where he answers the TTS questions that come in one at a time. And he has them in a blocking queue, so they fill up, and then he presses a button on his streamer deck that reads off the next one. It lets one go through at a time. And so it plays the TTS message, and then he answers that. Now, when he is done streaming, he may still have 20 or 30 TTS questions in that queue that haven't been read out yet. But if he closes the bot, he loses all of those. And what he ends up doing, obviously, is taking the money that came from those and giving it to charity because he didn't get to answer them. This can fix that. So basically what the pending action cache will do is anything that you have left in a queue, it will write it to basically like a save file in an array on a database file inside the StreamerBot directory. And then the next time that you open StreamerBot, it will re-establish what was in that queue, and then you can continue on to use it without losing anything. So if you have features like that, or you have a pending queue or a paused queue and it's filling up, you don't have to worry about closing StreamerBot down anymore. With this new pending action cache feature, it will actually retain those for the most part. There are a couple of little things. It is this experiment is featured. No, this feature is experimental. And because of some of the data types that get serialized or deserialized when this is writing from the list to an array, they can make some changes. For example, list objects become object arrays when they're reloaded in. So some things may not function correctly, but if you do use this, please go into the StreamerBot Discord and make sure that you report what you found, what didn't work, or what did work, so that Nate can decide whether this is going to become a full featured action or not. But it's very, very cool either way, especially for those of you that are using paused or pending queues in your actions and sub actions to allow things to only come through at certain times, right? So that way, especially for those of you that are like charging money or have fans that are, doing certain activities to make sure that they get into that queue. Like if you're doing a week long playing with your community, and they have to join the queue to see who plays with you next. This is a great way that you can end stream, come back, and then pick up right where you left off. So it's a really cool feature. All right. Up next, what do we got? Everything that changed for YouTube. As you know, with YouTube in version 2.4, multi-broadcasting became a thing. And for those of you that don't know, we'll go and take a look at this. And basically what this means is now we have a listing of all of our broadcasts, well, at least the last 20 broadcasts. And it will tell you all the information that you need to know about them. But you could only monitor live broadcast before 2.4. So if it wasn't live, it couldn't be monitored, which means you had to be live to test things. With version 2.4, we were able to then monitor any scheduled broadcast. So you could schedule a broadcast in YouTube, come into StreamerBot, set it to be monitored, and then you could use your chat feature in either OBS on the browser in YouTube Studio, or even here in StreamerBot, and you could test your actions and things like that while being offline. However, when it is monitored, because of the API quota limitations set by YouTube, it still kind of ran all of those at all times. But what has changed now with version 2.5 and 2.6 is that if you set a stream to be monitored that you're not currently live on, after 10 minutes, it will stop being monitored. This is automatically and is done in StreamerBot, and it's to preserve that quota. And basically, it's so you can come and you can test things. But if you forget to turn monitoring off for that broadcast, you're not taking up valuable quota limits for those API calls that other people that are like live streaming that day actually need. And to that end, Nate has requested to YouTube to increase that daily quota, and YouTube did approve that. So for those of you that stream later in the evening or at nights and you were getting those quota limit API errors on StreamerBot, those should be gone now, except in very rare instances. So that's a good news. But yes, you can stream, you can test your YouTube stuff while offline. Now, just make sure that you come in and set it to be monitored. Just remember, if you do testing and it takes longer than 10 minutes, you'll need to come back and just set it to be monitored again. That's all you would have to do. And you can just come in here, right click on it. And if it is a scheduled broadcast, it'll have a set monitor to turn that on. And you can do that there. All right. Also in YouTube, there was a new information in the API. And as you know, if you've seen any of my lives, the API for YouTube is much different than the one for Twitch. YouTube basically kind of sends everything all at once. So whatever is in that API listing is what you can pull from. Whereas with the Twitch API, you can actually ask it for specific things, right? So you can say, the username, the target username, that kind of stuff. With YouTube, you really can't do that. You kind of just get what they give you. Well, Nate discovered during this beta testing that in those API sends that YouTube does, there was information for a poll being closed. So previously with the YouTube connection, you could monitor and display stuff for an open poll, but if you close the poll, nothing really could be done about it. But Nate did find buried in that API stuff somewhere that there was information for if a poll is closed. So now that has been added as well into your sub action and trigger stuff. So when you close a poll, you can have things happen, which is pretty cool. All right. But other than that, there wasn't a whole lot of changes to the YouTube stuff. It was mainly trying to get the quota limits increased and then the functionality for multi-broadcast monitoring, which was all done. Cool. Twitch, however, did get quite a bit of upgrades. So we're going to talk about that now. So with Twitch, there is a longer list of things that have changed. So let's kind of go through those real quick. One was the get active poll and get active predictions. Those events are now monitored. You can use them. They've also, Nate has been able to add the get active prediction stuff from the Twitch API so that you can actually create a prediction right inside the StreamerBot UI without using C# code. So we could create a poll right from the UI here, but we couldn't create a prediction. Now, if you see up at the top here, here we are, we're in platforms, we're on the Twitch. So there's our channel point rewards, our polls and predictions. That's what we're talking about here. And once you're connected to Twitch, obviously you will have menu options. But previously, if you wanted to create a prediction to run on Twitch while you were live from StreamerBot, you had to use C#, but that is now changed. So you can actually do it straight from the UI, and there are sub actions and stuff to handle that. There was also a problem since the early versions of 2.0 of StreamerBot where the handling with the Twitch side of the gift sub and gifted bombs was kind of hit or miss, and most of the time it was miss. So if you had alerts set up for a gift sub or for gift bombs, which is 2 or more subs given at the same time by the same person, your actions and stuff may fail. But those reasons and bugs and quirks that cause the failures have been identified by Nate, and he was able to fix those. So those should be fixed now. If you still have any problems after the update and double checking that your actions and stuff are set up correctly, please let us know in the Discord. But otherwise, your gift bomb and gift sub issues should be fixed. And as an added bonus, there are now gift sub and gift bomb variables that are pulled in by the API that you can use in your actions. So you can use them for sub actions, or even in some cases for triggers based on what the action is. We already talked about the big update to the send message, reply message, and Twitch announce how it's set to your bot account by default. So we're not going to cover that again, but that is one of the biggest changes to the Twitch side. And also the channel point reward redemption events now come with new variables. Go check the changelog for those variables. You have new variables that you can use for those events that going to come in handy, especially for like using integrations with your OBS and stuff to have things like shown on the screen when certain rewards are triggered. So username, target username, input, and stuff like that have been added as variables. Groups got a major overhaul on Twitch, and we have group triggers now, so we can actually, in our actions, if you are connected to Twitch, you can actually have triggers now. All right, so under core and your triggers, we have groups now. You'll find groups here. Group added, group cleared, group removed, users added to group, and users removed from group. So these 5 new events here can be acted as triggers for your groups, which is a great feature, especially for those of you that use the groups for stuff like your subscribers or your VIPs and things like that. So huge thing there. Another big change, and this might be one of the most important ones here, is the inclusion of the Twitch shared chat feature. So for those of you that may not know, on Twitch, if you are collabing with another streamer and you're both live, you can now go into your dashboards and you can combine your chats so that both people, or however many people you're streaming with, are included. All of your chats are combined, and every person sees every message in their chat, which is a really cool feature to bring the communities together that way, so everybody can see what everybody's talking about without having to jump back and forth between the multiple streams. This has been brought in to StreamerBot now. It is done with a lot of events and triggers. So again, we can come in here. Let me zoom in. We can come in here. We can go to Twitch, and you will see that there is a new shared chat one, and there are 13 new triggers that you can use. So this is you can send a shared chat announcement, community gift subs, all of these different things. Subscribers, if you use users get banned, timed out, if you get unbanned when the session begins. So all of these now are triggers that you can use inside the Twitch community if you're doing the shared chat thing, which is a really cool feature, because now you can celebrate other activities that are going on in your friends' streams while you're streaming with them, and have that displayed on your side as well, which is really cool. And I expect a lot of people to do some really cool things with these new events. Moving on now, StreamLabs. For those of you that are using StreamLabs, why? Seriously, why? Okay, let's talk about StreamLabs for a second. StreamLabs, the website, they broke it on purpose. Okay, the website still functions, but if you are a new streamer and you're going into StreamLabs and you want to use their API to use things like StreamerBot, you're not going to get an API anymore. They have removed that from you without reason. And it's just all kind of shitty, to be fair. So if you're using the Streamlabs website, whether you're using like their chat bot or some of their alerts or whatever, Streamlabs removed the ability for new users to get an API call, which means new people can't use external third-party software like StreamerBot with Streamlabs. So what Nate has done was he has changed the integration for Streamlabs from their API call to an OAuth, basically authorization call, which finally got approved by Streamlabs. It took a while. So if you have been using Streamlabs or the Streamlabs desktop specifically, you will need to log out, forget the connection, and re-log in again, like we talked about in the beginning, because it is a whole new authorization system to make sure that you get everything that you are expected to get when using StreamerBot. Another thing that Streamlabs did was a Streamlabs desktop. They broke everything as well. They deleted their API call and the info in the API for groups. So if you were using Streamlabs desktop and you were using groups, they no longer work. They just don't work. Streamlabs said, nah, fuck it. And they took them out. So if you need to get that control back, it is recommended that instead of groups, you just use nested scenes, and you can have more control with StreamerBot through the nested scenes. I don't have the answers, so please don't ask me. I don't know. I don't use Streamlabs. I've hated Streamlabs for the last 3 years now, and I refuse to use anything of theirs. So I don't have the answers as to why they have made these changes, blocking out new users from, basically being able to use their systems. But they have, and it's another just example of how shitty I think that they are. But Nate has recognized that there are people that use Streamlabs and rely on it. And instead of just forcing you all to move to something better, you can now use the new authorization to get most of that functionality back. It is a little bit limited. But also, the Streamlabs desktop does support handling of horizontal and vertical formats, and StreamerBot can now handle that and monitor both of those for you. Another change is the custom event triggers, and this was a weird one. So let's zoom in here. The custom event, obviously right here, the custom event was something you could create. You could make an event name, and basically it would act as a trigger, right? But you had to basically create this. You basically had to create this using C#. So it was a C# only type of thing. However, now with the new version, there is a custom event from a sub action. So in a core, if we're gonna go core, and we're gonna come down to your triggers. So here's your custom event trigger or the set trigger state. These have both been added now that you have these. Instead of having to rely on the C#, you can actually just click on here and then give your event name. And if you're using arguments in that C# event. Now, the custom events are still for C# only, of course, but it is now a sub action, so you don't have to have multiple actions to get things to run. You can just use the sub actions now. So that's pretty cool. Finally, we're going to talk about the Midi validation. So if you do use Midi here, and let me turn this back on, I don't. No, but basically the changes here are not that huge. But if you are using the Midi validation checks and you have it set to ignore channel, if you uncheck ignore channel, you can only choose channels 1 through 16. Also, there is the ignore data checkbox. If you uncheck that, you can then choose channels 1 through 255. So that's a small little change, but very important, especially for those of you using the Midi in and out feature, which again, I am not, which is why I have it unchecked. But for those of you that do, there you go. 1 through 16 if ignored channel is unchecked, and 1 through 25 on the channels if ignored data is unchecked. And then one of the things that was added in 2.6 and kind of snuck through with the features and updates. Basically, 2.6 addressed a few crash reports, it adjusted a few typos, and it had a few updates to some things that basically the functionality just kind of slipped through on the betas of 2.5. Nothing major, nothing groundbreaking, nothing that you even are going to notice. But since Nate was releasing it, the one little Twitch feature that snuck through right as 2.5 was coming out of beta and into full release was their API calls for Golden Kappa Train. So, the hype train has a small chance to be a Golden Kappa train, and then those users get the Golden Kappa emote if they are a part of that hype train. Because it was a rare event, it was just kind of there. But now with the API calls, Nate found it. It is in there, and you can now use the Golden Kappa train. It is available for hype train events now. And then finally, the big thing is OBS. The OBS WebSocket event format and data has changed. OBS did this change, and now StreamerBot is updated on that. So if you use StreamerBot through the WebSockets connection to subscribe to OBS events, this is a breaking change. Your format and data has changed. StreamerBot has also changed to include these updates. And there are 8 new WebSocket requests, so you can get global and user variables from StreamerBot, Twitch, YouTube, and Trovo. So those 8, 2 for each there. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, then you don't use OBS WebSocket connection subscribe events, and you don't need to worry about it. If you do know what I'm talking about, you probably noticed that shit isn't working anymore. And that's why. So go to the changelog, all of the changes and explanations, and a JavaScript example of what data is now pulled and the format being used is on the changelog, so you can take a look at that. There you go. That's it, really. So 2.5 and 2.6 have changed a lot of things, a lot of new integrations, some small minor updates and quality of life improvements, and of course, getting around the OBS WebSocket connection and the stupid StreamLabs breaking their shit for new streamers and not giving them what they need has all been corrected. But yeah, again, guys, update to 2.6. It is latest, it is stable, and it is the greatest, and it will give you the most functionality of anything that you want to do for your streams. Highly, highly recommend. But again, go through the changelog, because obviously I didn't cover everything, right? And I may have skipped over some of the minor details that may be important to you. But yeah, go through and take a look, test out the new things. And if you have any questions or don't understand a change and what it means for your stream, leave a comment down below and we will help you get all of that sorted. And if you like the video, if you like this and you like StreamerBot, go ahead and give the video a thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, hi, welcome in. We're glad to have you. I have a lot of tutorials here covering Twitch, YouTube streaming, OBS, StreamerBot, and then just streaming things in general. So click the subscribe button and the notification bell to learn when I post a new tutorial, and it's good to have you here. Welcome. If you, for whatever reason, did not like the video, go ahead and give me the thumbs down. All I ask is that if you did give me the thumbs down, leave a comment below and let me know what it is you did not like about the video. That way, moving forward, I can make changes to be more inclusive to everybody and get the information out there the best way possible and make the tutorials better for everybody involved. we're going to keep this send off a little short because this is already quite a long video and it doesn't do a whole lot. It's just me talking, and I apologize for that. Hopefully my voice isn't too grating for you. But again, thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. And until next time, everybody, love, peace, and chicken grease.